Okay, we'll reconvene as a budget work session with Wicomico County Council, June 5th, 2018. It seems as if the last calculations that we made gives us a balanced budget. Is there anything else that the council members would like to review or discuss? All right, that being said, this is what we'll prepare for the 14th, and we'll go from there. Everybody good? Okay. Thank you, Levin. This time I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn from the Wicomico County Council so that we can convene as the Urban Services Commission.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First item on the agenda is the approval of the open work session minutes from May 1st, 2018.
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Minutes are approved. Second item on the agenda, entertain a motion to approve Resolution 04, 2018.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Wilbur.
Good evening, Paul Wilbur.
Good evening.
Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, yes, this is a resolution requesting reimbursement from the Urban Services Commission for the attached invoices submitted by Village Downriver. These invoices are for repairs that have already been performed.
You have reviewed all of these invoices?
Yes, I have looked at them, yes.
Are they in line with what the agreement is as far as what the obligations are for
I believe
reimbursement?
so. I believe so, yes.
I do have some comments on that, Mr. Cannon.
Mr. Taylor?
Yeah. I think there's some things on here. First of all, I can't even tell how much it is total money that the resolution is approving. I don't think there's a bottom line. But beyond that, on some of the invoices, there are some items that I don't think come within the shared facility agreement that we redrafted earlier this year. And I'll point out, there's one item, daily monitoring and operations, March 2018, for $2,500. There are some invoices that go back to 2017. As you'll recall, when we went through the redrafting of the agreement, our understanding was that as of approximately the first of this year, everything was fine, paid up for, and operating perfectly. That may be a slight overstatement, but there was certainly no question of invoices from 2017, particularly early in 2017, that would ever be drawn down on the amount that was left in the replacement fund. So I've got some other issues too. Some of the things are very hard to understand what they are. But as I say, you've got this $2,500 item that looks like it's included. It's not lined through or excluded. And if you look down a little bit further, there's something for lube oil and grease. That's a consumable item. That's not a capital item. And there are other things that sound like they might possibly be consumables, not capital too. And there are a bunch of items that, quite frankly, you can't tell what they are. So I would suggest tabling this and taking a look at that. I'll also point out, I haven't done the bottom line, but if you add all these invoices up, I think it comes to well over the $14,000 or $15,000 that we talked about at the last work session. And that's going to probably cut into that 25% threshold. When you exceed that, then the association has to do part payment. So I think there's a couple issues here that need to be examined.
Well, I was surprised I was surprised that the resolution itself did not have an actual amount. It seemed like an open-ended reimbursement.
Well, Mr. President, in light of this, I guess I would make a motion to table this until we get a more thorough review of these expenses and a final number.
Motion to table?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 04-2018 has been tabled. Mr. Wilbur, I would suggest that if you're going to bring this back, we have some type of numbers that we can
Yeah, and-
implement in there.
I think maybe Mr. Taylor might want to talk to you. too, so.
Yeah, whatever these blue book invoices are, one of them for $1,800, no, like almost six, two of them for almost six.
We'll hold another work session on this if we could.
Sure.
All
Things
right.
like that, we don't know what they are.
And I would
did see
think
the
Dallas,
McDonald's again.
Dallas Baker could probably, cut to the chase on most of this stuff.
He's up to his neck in weight in the storm. Are you kidding me?
Dallas, I grew up in Ellicott City, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Next item on the agenda is a discussion of street light for Kelvington. Now, Mr. Baker, this would be in your area. Whose district is this in?
Hello.
This is what you requested, Councilman Davis?
Yes, sir.
Hello again, Dallas Baker, Director of Public Works for the county. So we're combining water and electricity tonight.
Doesn't really.
Well, we were just talking about
Shocking.
sewage too, so, just talk about-
Yeah. So we had a request forwarded to Public Works for street lighting on two different subdivisions, the Kelvington subdivision and then the Hernan Bailey Farm subdivision, which is directly across the street from each other on Jersey Road, just this side of the bypass. We met with Chop Tank and the Marva Power to go over proposed lighting placements. Basically, there were two different scenarios. One is where they will place the light heads on existing wooden poles, which there are partially some in the communities, and at the other locations, they will put them where there are existing transformers in the community. So in the case of Kelvington, about a third of the lights would go on existing poles, and then the other two-thirds rather, would have new poles mounted next to existing transformers. There are a couple locations when we looked at this pattern where basically it left certain intersections dark. There were just gaps in the lighting, so we working with Delmarva Power and Chop Tank, there were ways to run conduit to these additional locations so that there was an even lighting pattern. If the folks were going to pay for lighting, it made sense to make sure what they were looking for lit up properly. And again, working with those two utility companies, we came up with a cost estimate. There is both Delmarva Power and Chop Tank do not pay for the running of the conduit for the locations that don't appear next to street light or to existing utility poles or the transformer. So if you put it someplace further away, we would have to pay for the street lighting or pay for that conduit up front. And then that fee of what we paid, the county paid, would get added on to their first year's bill. So the first year bill is higher, and then after that, that conduit cost is recouped, then it drops down to what they would see for the remaining life of while they have streetlights out there.
So when that's recouped, does that come back to the county?
Yeah, they pay that money back to the county for, through their tax bills. So, we can go through the cost, but essentially, what we have now is a packet that we can present to the public if there's any, if the commission approves. We have locations, we have street light costs. So that the next step is, if the commission's good with this, we'll schedule public hearings, present these findings to the community, and then we get their input. If they're good with it, we move forward and get a final final engineering study. And if they're not good with it, the issue dies. Some of the options on the table are whether or not the community would like fiberglass poles versus the wooden poles. That option is only available in the Chop Tank section. Delmarva Power just does fiberglass poles and LED lights. So Chop Tank has a little bit more flexibility with what they would see in there.
You had said if they're not okay with it, then this just dies.
Mhm.
Is there a process that the county has, whereas for all the time we take and all the effort that there's any sort of a fee that's paid, so that if someone says they want to do this, we go to all this trouble to put the package together, and they go, no, that's not going to work.
You can blame Ernie.
I'm curious as to the process, as to whether or not the county has considered.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
What do you estimate the cost would be if this just went belly up? You don't have to answer me now, because
No,
I'm
no,
just wondering
I-
whether there should be an application fee for someone that actually wants to make this request of the county,
Yeah.
or whether it's not appropriate.
It really depends. Well, to answer your question, I probably have maybe about 40 hours worth of work into what you're seeing here, with meeting Delmarva Power on site, with back and forth communications with them, meeting with Chop Tank on site. We did drive around, we cited all of this stuff. So, you know, by comparison, Burnt Branch was a lot easier. Burnt Branch was just Chop Tank. Chop Tank will go in, they basically bang all this stuff out for us. They come back and say, hey, here's where we're gonna put it at. Are you good with it? Delmarva Power is, I'll say, not quite as customer friendly. They were very helpful. They were willing to meet us on site, but they weren't willing to give us it wasn't like I could call them and say, hey, Delmarva Power, tell me where we can put streetlights at. I had to do the drive around with them.
Right.
So there's work involved with it. But no, to answer your question, I'm not aware of any mechanism to recoup the cost that we, the county, have spent to develop these plans.
And I don't know if, go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was just gonna say, this is initiated because the residents want it, and they know it will cost them something, so at the very least, they don't know the final cost, but they know they're gonna have to pay an extra cost, so I doubt that people who weren't inclined to go through with it would probably initiate it, just because if somebody signed that petition, it has to be what, over half the people in the.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
to have 20%, I believe,
Oh, okay. Oh, the-
or how does that work? 25% or 20 if there's less than. I'd have to pull it out of the chart.
I mean, but
The numbers.
it's basically people, they know that we're signing up to have some sort of increase in our taxes, so I mean,
I think what John's getting at is if we go out and engineer putting in a culvert for somebody, we charge, right?
Yeah, if they want a driveway pipe, they have to pay the fee.
But not just for putting it in, but engineering, right? If somebody comes in for a special exception,
you know.
would they have to pay a fee, correct?
Yeah,
Well,
they
they do, yeah, they pay fees. So I think what John's getting at is time that, you know, our resources are spending doing this, whether it works or don't work.
Okay.
Should there be a fee?
Again, Joe, you get into public safety.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying what John was getting at. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
yeah,
we should do it or not. I think that's what he
You're not
meant.
saying John's right. so-
No,
Excuse me?
I wasn't saying
that
that's
John.
You think that, John's right?
No, Joe's not saying that, John's right, but no, okay, I understand what you're saying.
And just from what I'm aware of, I mean, we've had the Burnt Branch, and before that, we had.
Cook Drive.
What's that?
Kirkwood.
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 They've all moved forward with wanting this.
This is,
done.
and they wouldn't apply to this set of circumstances at all, because they've already applied. I just think maybe it's something that, for you to think about, maybe if you might think that it's a recommendation on your part for the commission to consider at any point in time, and we should consider that as a body, I think, at some point in time, maybe. Doesn't mean it'll happen, it would be a vote, an application fee.
I mean, you look, okay, you can just look at stormwater management. You're gonna charge the people for that too?
So that's what we're evaluating, as to what degree we have to go to as far as what the expenses are. Believe me, I'm not one for taxing anybody for anything, but if there are services that we have supplied, to consider whether or not it should be paid for.
They're paying for the services. The county isn't losing anything.
I'm talking about the initial services, as far as Dallas setting up, you know, with the work that he has, the preliminary work that he has to do. Hey,
It's not like
it's
you're paying
for, it's for
overtime.
another day. I'm not gonna advocate for it one way or the other today. I just thought we should consider that. When you said that they don't like it, so be it. Then I thought, well, if they don't like it, we've already gone through an awful lot of work.
Yeah, if the cost comes back too high, you know, it's the equivalent of you bring a contractor into your house and you say, hey, look, give me an estimate. That contractor has, you know, you plumber in and say, okay, give me your cost to fix this broken pipe. He's already factoring in to his overhead that cost. Now, I don't know how we as a county worked it out. Do we add in our labor costs to the price? You know, do I track my hours as I'm going through each one? And that the-
I don't want to belabor this one, you know, and there are several analogies you could draw. If you take your car and get it worked on, they're going to charge you, they charge you a fee just to run a diagnostic.
That's very true.
So, anyway, we'll do it at a different time. Sorry to get off the subject, but go ahead and, you know, we're talking about one in
It's a good
particular here.
thought.
So, yeah, so again, if everyone here finds this acceptable, then we'll move forward with the, setting up the public meetings. And, I believe it has to be advertised for 2 weeks. At least we have to put some signs up in the communities. We'll have another public meeting probably over the Civic Center, similar to what we had for Burnt Branch.
Okay,
Do we
I
need
did get
just
some
one hearing?
dates, if you want to
okay.
talk about those. The Civic Center is available on June the 26th, 27th, July 9th, and 13th.
And sometimes we've done these in the community.
Yeah, is there a location?
There's not actually a requirement in the charter for that, is my understanding. I know that that's been done in the past. I think that was a convenience for the citizens.
That'd be nicer to do, if there's something.
But there's not a legal requirement that I'm aware of.
We had a pretty good turnout when we had the one for Burnt Branch over at the Civic Center. I mean, the nice thing about the Civic Center, it's a facility we own, so it doesn't charge us money, and they have the audiovisual equipment, they have the seating, central parking. I can tell you from experience with these drainage meetings we've had, it can sometimes be a challenge to set up the equipment at a location that might not be set up for it.
What dates do you have?
So we're looking at June the 26th,
Saturday?
27th,
The 26th, that is okay,
26th is a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
26th
In June, John.
Yeah.
of June,
June 26th,
that's election day.
27th, that's election day.
26th election.
Only for one person.
Okay, so the 27th, then we have July the 9th and July 13th.
I'm okay on the 27th. Do we have to confirm this with any of the leaders in this neighborhood?
They all get written notices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone gets notices, we put up signs, and,
Okay.
yeah.
I got one that'll go around and tell
Can we
everybody.
avoid Friday the 13th? It's July.
I'm okay.
July,
Wednesday,
Friday
the
the 13th.
27th, I'm available.
The 27th or 9th, I'm just good to.
27th works for me.
27th, good for everyone?
Everybody good on the 27th?
What time?
I believe last time we had it at 6 PM. We
6.
gave people a chance to get home from work.
Okay.
I got a meeting at 5.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Baker?
Nope, that's it, sir.
All right. Anything else from the council? Nope. Anything else? All right, thank you very much. Entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. All those in favor?
And I'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Adjourn.
Where exactly are we meeting?